A film that turns a conclave into conflict. A message that challenges every believer. What happens when Hollywood meets the Vatican? When conviction is mocked and caricature replaces truth? This is more than a movie review. It's a defense of faith. The film Conclave doesn't simply dramatize the election of a new pope. It presents the Catholic Church as fractured, portraying its humanity not as real but as rotten. It pushes the narrative that conviction is dangerous, that certainty is outdated, and that tradition is the enemy. This is a portrayal that seeks not to understand the Church but to distort her. It reduces sacred roles into stereotypes. Cardinals, those entrusted with guiding the Church in its most solemn decisions, are flattened into archetypes of either enlightened progress or rigid dogma. The screen separates them not by holiness or virtue, but by ideology, as though the Church were just another political battleground. In this imagined conclave, there's no space for mystery, prayer, or the Holy Spirit. There is no sense that the Church is more than the sum of its leaders, that it is a living body rooted in heaven as much as on earth. The film doesn't leave room for grace. To understand what's really being misrepresented, it helps to know what a conclave truly is. Historically, a papal conclave is not a political campaign, it is a sacred gathering. Cardinals from across the world are locked in prayer and discernment, often for days, invoking the Holy Spirit to guide their decision. In the longest conclave ever, held in Viterbo from 1268 to 1271, local authorities even removed the roof of the building and rationed food to pressure the cardinals to reach a decision. This is not fiction. It's history. And that history is full of drama, yes, but also of prayer, penance, and profound dependence on divine guidance. It's far more complex and beautiful than any modern screenplay can capture. The Church has always faced opposition for standing firm. Across centuries, saints and martyrs paid with blood for refusing to bend. Even from the beginning, when Jesus called his 12 apostles, one betrayed him, one denied him, and most ran away. The first pope fled in fear. And yet, it was from these flawed men that Christ built his church. This paradox, the coexistence of grace and sin, of strength and failure, is not scandalous. It's foundational. It's what makes the church not just human, but divinely sustained. The Gospels never hide the failures of those closest to Christ because our faith does not rest on human perfection, but on divine promise. Throughout history, saints have risen not in spite of the Church's messiness, but because they loved her through it. Saint Catherine of Siena confronted corrupt clergy while remaining deeply obedient to the Pope. Saint Charles Borromeo reformed the clergy after the Council of Trent with fierce discipline and humility. Saint Francis of Assisi renounced wealth to rebuild the Church, one broken brick at a time. Their lives are proof love and reform are not opposites. And in a world that applauds uncertainty and scorns conviction, we say, faith is not fanaticism. Certainty is not the enemy. To believe that Jesus is Lord, that he established one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church, that the Holy Spirit still guides her despite every weakness. That is not dangerous. It's liberating. Certainty doesn't blind us to flaws. It anchors us through them. The Church's failures don't disprove her identity. They prove her need for grace, just like each of us. Because the Church is not held together by politics or popularity. It's held together by Christ. And if you look for his fingerprints, even in the mess, you'll find them on the altar, in the confessional, in the tears of saints, and the lives of the faithful. For those who want to deepen that faith, to walk alongside the saints who also lived through trials, explore our ebook 50 Saints, Stories and Prayers for Divine Intervention, available now in our store. These are stories of real lives, broken, redeemed, and full of divine power. Saints who, like us, lived in uncertain times and still chose to believe. We don't need fictionalized caricatures to understand the struggle. We live it every day. We experience it in our parishes, in confession lines in the pews. And yes, the church is messy, but she is also our mother, sacred, guided, alive. She does not stand because of the holiness of her leaders alone, but because of the one who promised. The gates of hell shall not prevail against her. We at Catholic Journey stand firm in communion with the Church of Christ. We walk alongside her, not despite her flaws, but through them, because Christ never left her. So if you're tired of shallow narratives, if you're hungry for truth, and ready to rediscover the sacred depth of Catholicism, like, subscribe, share this message, because in a world obsessed with doubt, we dare to believe. And that is revolutionary.